It's good to be a union leader in New York. Check out these photos. Two men among 300 labor bosses who have been whooping it up in sunny Puerto Rico. There they are on the dimes of their cash-strapped members. The honchos represent New York municipal workers. Now, this has angered a lot of the rank and file who say the union could just as easily have conducted business here in New York for a lot less money. BigGovernment.com's Andrew Breitbart is not surprised. Well, Andrew, guess what? These are the real 1% that are living off of the other 99%, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been dancing with these guys out there on the mean streets of America, the union guys that have been protesting the Tea Parties back in the day, and now you see them at Occupy Wall Street. And when they attack you, and they do when you go down there to ask them basic questions, a simple photograph allows for you to find out who that person is. The person who's yelling this class warfare rhetoric typically has a job. You find out the person's name and that the person's making $144,000 a year.
At least. By the way, the head of the Labor's International Union makes $618,000
right. And the thing is,
but
what's so terrible is this nexus between the union leadership who are trying to foment rage with the rank and file when they're getting these type of salaries, and how they coordinate with the high-paid media. At Time magazine, which just named Occupy Wall Street the #1 story of the year, is that they're coordinating.
Forget about the death of Osama bin Laden and all that piddly stuff.
It's a strange New York, Montauk, Hamptons alliance of really...
Don't forget Beverly Hills, by the way.
And Beverly Hills, an alliance of the union leadership along with the elites in the media in order to get the rank and the file pitted against each other.
We should emphasize, by the way, and this is something that you helped point out, that it is the union bosses, to a large extent, who've taken over some of these Occupy movements and who are directing them to their event. And these are the same union bosses who are now in Puerto Rico making $600,000 a year.
And telling these poor saps who owe $200,000, these kids that owe $200,000 on a comparative literature degree, getting them all riled up and then aiming them at Bank of America. This is all coordinated stuff. It's class warfare. What's interesting about that is SEIU, which is one of the main unions we're talking about here, with a lot of high-powered, rich guys making six figures. SEIU took out $100 million from Bank of America and gave it to Barack Obama to get elected. And now they're using these poor saps on the ground, busing them in to protest at Occupy, to protest on bankers' on bankers' home property. Right. Something's got to give.
And it was, by the way, the head of the SEIU that was the former head, Andy Stern, who was the most frequent visitor
and his,
to
his predecessor as well. At some point, and the Tea Party does not reject members of the unions. These poor saps are being used by their union leaders. Who this is normal. This is standard operating procedure down there in Puerto Rico.
These are the 1%. Andrew Breitbart, good to see you, my friend.
Thanks
for being here. Coming up.